So you've done the self-help and you've dipped into some personal development, but now you ask the question, now what? What can you do? Well, if you want to escape the apathy, step right this way. So twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week personal development and training course. What people get out of it is multifaceted. There's curriculum, there's exercises, there's camaraderie, you make new friends. There's a whole lot of interesting things. We're going to hear a sample from the course right now in its ongoing season. Let's take a look at the value these students are getting. Who else
Good
has
morning,
a
Richard.
question? Yeah.
How's it going?
Good morning. How you doing, Nick?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Long time no see. I'm for people who don't know me, season 5 graduate. And yeah, I just wanted to pop in and introduce myself, give a little update, made a few notes, things I wanted to talk about. So yeah, a little update. So since season 5 of Autonomy, I got a new job, and that came about through the community herein, and specifically the interview skills. I was practicing, and I know that's the integration exercise for this week. So that's sort of the first thing I wanted to talk about, how interviews are really a superpower, because it forms the basis of everything you do in life. It forms the basis of your relationships, professional and personal. And so I was practicing in season 5, and then another season 5 student offered me an interview where he works, and he put me in front of a couple of his colleagues. I did the interview, and then the feedback was that I was a must hire, and that was really nice to hear. I felt good. And so yeah, that got me into a new role, and now I'm a consultant, and I'm working on some pretty complicated projects. I'm learning a lot every day. I'm getting to speak to excellent people every day. I'm really enjoying the team that I'm in. I'm working with the other autonomy student, and yeah, it's just fantastic, and it's been a real relief to have things sort of open up in that way. And that sort of brings me to my next point, which is luck. We've been talking about luck tonight, and the preparation meets opportunity definition of luck. Another angle I wanted to add, which has been useful to me, and I've noticed, is me and my wife talk about luck, and she'll often, if something bad happens, she'll say, "Oh, I'm so unlucky." And I'm the polar opposite, where I consider myself to be the luckiest man in the world. And I'm 35. I look back on my life, and it's been very smooth sailing. And I know a lot of people go through a lot of trauma and have people end up in this course needing triage. I look back on my life, and I've had a very blessed life. To the people I've met, the opportunities I've had to travel, the experiences I've had, and so I think your self-talk on luck is also an important factor there. If you're telling yourself, "I'm unlucky, things go wrong all the time," it's going to invite that into your reality, I think. Whereas if you switch that up and say, "Well, I'm so lucky to have what I have," and I think you touched on this recently when you mentioned, I think Joshua Hale said to you, first world problems, you know. So if you've got a place to sleep and some clothes on your back and some food in your belly and warmth when you need it and people to talk to when you're feeling lonely, then count those blessings and consider yourself lucky. And I think that feeds into the attitude of gratitude, and then more good things and so-called lucky things are likely to happen. And thirdly, I wanted to talk about my plans for the weekend. I picked this up. It's the Getting Things Done workbook. I got the Getting Things Done book, and I got this as well because I'm slightly addicted to buying books. And yeah, if anyone is sort of looking for a way to get all the things out of their head that they need to do, we were talking about memory earlier as well. I'm really excited to make that inventory of projects, things I got to do, clarifying the next steps, just because they sort of float in and float out, and I'm like, "Oh, I need to do that thing, I need to talk to that person." I'm actually really excited to just get it all out, get it in a system.
You gotta pounce on those things, right? It's like
yes.
that. There's a video at some point during the course where the lion like watches a bunch of other animals run by, and then he pounces on one. You gotta make that decision, right? That's what that symbolizes. It's interesting because where you're at, being a nerd, you got the textbook, you got the workbook, you're doing it for yourself. What if you just made some slides and you had a meeting in a week or two and say, hey, I'm trying to learn this new technique, and part of learning it, I'm going to try to explain it to you guys, and that's going to help me internalize it, and have a meeting. And then you got a bunch of people who are interested in getting things done, and you might have like a, a support group from actually getting that done. It might be an accountability, it might be a mastermind, it might be some sort of productivity or something, and it go from there, because it's going to help you integrate it, and it's going to make it stronger by teaching other people, what's in that book, and they get the book for themselves or what have you. But it's about like drawing out the value from yourselves after exposure to that content. Right?
Yeah, and that's that actually just reminds me of something which I forgot to mention on the topic of interviews. In the company where I work now, we are all invited to interview new candidates, regardless of what level in the company you're in. And this is a new thing to me. I've never been in a company that does that, and I thought that's great. So we have this list of candidates, and we could get in touch with them and pair up to carry out those interviews. And I did 3 or 4, and then we had a team get together, and somebody said, oh, if you want to do interviews, you should talk to Nick. It's his superpower. And I was like, whoa, that was a really nice shout out. And then another person said, hey, Nick, next meeting, can you do us like a sort of informal training on interviews? And so I did, and I put together a sort of 10 slide deck on PowerPoint. I hit a lot of things that we learn here in Autonomy, that it's a conversation, that we're looking to have a win-win situation and solve problems. I wanted to remove that dynamic of, I've got something you want and you have to say the right things to get it from me, and so, yeah, it's just funny you mentioned that and came up with that idea, because I did that earlier this week, just on Thursday, and I think it was a pretty good success. I got some nice feedback. I managed to drop in a couple of book recommendations, nonviolent communication at the end. So yeah, thanks.
So now you're the resident expert.
Right? Yes, nominated, and but that's cool. I really found a lot of value in, firstly, it felt good to get the feedback, and then secondly, okay, how can I impart some of this knowledge? And that was extremely satisfying, and I got a lot of what's the word? Gratification from doing that.
You're going to get to use that word more often now. See, you won't have to look for it. It'll be right there. I get more gratification from that.
I kept saying gratitude. I got a lot of gratitude, but I was like, no, it's gratification.
So basically, the interview skill where you're working helps them access new human talent that they need to source and hire to do more things, right? But it also helps you gain the answers you need to solve big problems that your corporation can't solve yet. So it is a kind of magical superpower skill. Only you can understand how to do it, like in an afternoon. And here's the, you have a couple questions. In any given topic, it would work like this. You are working in this metaphor or hypothesis or example, a company that builds houses and tries to sell them to people. So great. So what are people looking for? They want, these things, and what things do they have to do to go through and buy a house? So familiarize yourself with the process, right? And then what pitfalls or obstacles keep people from getting what they want? Now let's accommodate for that. And you got a full spectrum offer that's better than anybody else because they haven't put the thought into it. And anything you don't know, you can either look up or go interview people and get those answers. You got total mobility. It's like an all-terrain vehicle for like your goal getting, right? So good for you for recognizing those opportunities, and then for participating, and then for getting recognized for being good at that, stepping up and doing a little training. And you know what the next thing they might need? They might need some getting things done at that place you work at, right? Maybe you do a little training on that. Maybe you say, I could get paid to train you guys, because right, you'd pay someone else money to come in.
Yeah.
Tell him to call David Allen. He's going to say $100,000, and then you tell him you'll do it for $5. He turned it down. He gave his number, and now you give your number, whatever you want to do. But make them an offer they can't refuse. That's the gist.
Having the freedom to be in control of my time and my workload has always been really important to me. So I took Autonomy and I got some high value skills that'll let me work anywhere at any time. I got the skills that'll let me overcome the problems and challenges that come up in my day-to-day life. And I overcame my fear and my self-doubt, so I'm not procrastinating anymore. You can take your scarcity mindset and switch it out for an abundance mindset at getautonomy.info. Check it out today.